The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager.
All right, let's have a live look at Bitcoin. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XVX index is currently trading at 33,300. Bitcoin slightly down about 1.3%. And the CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is at 2058. ETH is down about 3.3% on the day. Joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Rayne Steinberg, CEO of Arca, a crypto investment firm. Welcome to the show, Rayne. So I'd love to get out of hear your thoughts on your outlook on Bitcoin right now. We just had these jobs figures out. Seems that the economy is chugging along, perhaps making the dollar stronger. Is that a negative for Bitcoin?
Thanks for having me, guys. Yes, I think the topic du jour is what is moving Bitcoin? Where does it fall? I really think it's more important when you look at these things, these short-term kind of shocks from Elon Musk to day-to-day job reports. You're talking about an expansion that's really huge and has many inputs and is global. So it's really hard to say on a day-to-day basis. Our trading team looks at those type of things. But I keep my eye focused on what's going on in the broader macro environment, and is digital assets, Bitcoin being one of them, gaining traction and moving forward. And we're seeing that as, yes, further institutional adoption, more products coming out addressing it, Bitcoin and other digital assets, and that's continuing the pace. So in
right,
the
you say
asset classes,
a lot of you say a lot of your institutional clients are focused on investing in ESG focused cryptocurrencies. Is that correct, or?
Well, yes, not so much ESG cryptocurrencies yet. ESG in general is a huge part of the investing pie and growing bigger, especially with institutions. There's been a lot of focus on the E in both traditional investing as well in digital assets. What we're trying to do is actually get people to focus on the G and the S on the ESG, especially as it compares to digital assets. That's because blockchain really is a governance structure with broad implications about societal impact. And the E portion, the energy use of something like Bitcoin, is more of an afterthought and less important in the broader implications about this technology.
In your view, what's the best blockchain out there?
We're agnostic on a blockchain in that regard. We have two sides of our business. One is an investment practice where we provide products that give sophisticated investors access to digital assets as an asset class. And the other side of the business, we are building investment products with a better investor experience using blockchain. So, all blockchains, there's a lot of different value propositions. We built our regulated product on Ethereum.
So, Rayne, obviously ETFs are in your blood, but and you were talking about adoption. Do you think that we'll see an ETF in the next, say, 6 months?
I don't think so. And this is one of those things where ETFs are in my blood, but ETFs were a technological advancement over mutual funds. They came out of the early 90s. We started Wisdom Tree, that was my prior company, in the early 2000s, and ETFs were only 40 billion under management. And you see where they've gone from there to now. We think what we're doing on blockchain, we call it the Blockchain Transfer Fund, is kind of the next iteration of the ETF. So more liquidity, 24/7 trading, more benefits than an ETF. And I think the desire to put something like Bitcoin, the most decentralized asset in history, into a centralized investment structure, while there may be some market uptake there, is not really necessary. And the 13 applications that you see for it seem to show how focused the asset management industry is on that effort, but not necessarily a very transformative one.
I believe Wisdom Tree is one of them, correct?
They are. It is a former company, and
have you told them?
One of the applicants. Have I told them this?
Yes.
I think they know my views on this application.
So just want to ask a quick question about the future of mining, what your assessment is. A lot of people are saying that mining may leave China for good. If this is the case, what do you think is the overall impact on crypto, and where do you think mining will go?
It may be the case, and I think what happened in China is instructive. China is a very command and control economy and society. While they were welcoming to Bitcoin mining initially, it was only at the pleasure of the government, and you could see how quickly that could turn around. You've already seen a lot of mining projects headed to other cheap electricity places, West Texas being one of them. And I think this will actually be beneficial to Bitcoin specifically going forward. There was a lot of concentration risk in China. And when something like this happens, you can see how problematic that is. But this is really more of a blip than a sustained problem.
Has the market fully absorbed its reaction to China yet, or is there potentially more downside ahead in the near term?
It's hard to say. It feels like a lot of negative news is baked in right now, but it is hard to say. In an asset class as new as this, what interests me, like the difference between a drawdown like this and let's say last March, you've had a much broader institutional ownership base, and we're seeing that growing. And that is just a much larger part of the dollar pie of overall investments that's coming into this space that also generally has a longer outlook and is, I would say, less emotional than Bitcoin's historical user base. So I see a broadening and kind of a longer hold mentality to that user base happening now. So that's kind of counteracting this type of move.